I'm Susan. Welcome to Tea and Games. The tea today is one that I always mess up somehow when I say it aloud. Wu Liang Hong Mao Feng Black from Tea Runners. Got it? Not a paid promo, I just really like their tea. In fact, welcome to new subscribers. For those of you who are new here, I'm Susan. My husband Robert and I are casual weekend board gamers. We have a modest board game collection, and I'm just making these videos just for the heck of it. Robert chooses not to be in them, but you will be hearing from him in this video because this video, half of this is his input. Let me see if I can, I'll just put that out of camera range there, or maybe it wasn't in camera range anyway. The camera looks weird. I've got it at kind of a weird angle, so the table looks, and I swear I'm setting it up the same way I did before. It just looks odd today. Anyhow, we have been playing, this video is a little bit different because most of my videos are what we've been playing. This video is kind of what we haven't been playing. Summer's here, and you know, it's like you're always thinking, ooh, summer, I'm going to do this during the summer, and summer is so fun, and we are going to play a lot of games, and we're going to see people and do stuff, and yeah, not any of that. Although summer has generally been fairly amazing. We're having a good summer. It's been unusually wet and rainy, but we're having a good summer. It means I don't have to water the garden like all the time. So, but what I'm doing today is Blackboard Gaming. And by the way, I tagged Blackboard Gaming for the $150 challenge, and they did it this week. Dwayne and Alicia did it. And it's a really good video. They've got a really excellent list. I think they nailed this much better than I did. So I will put a link for that down below. But I'm also giving them a shout out because they kind of inspired today's video, though it's not a challenge video. Dwayne did a video of 5 games he wanted to play this summer. And Alicia did a video, 5 games she wanted to play this summer. So that's kind of a total of 10 games for the two of them. So it got me thinking. It kind of triggered something in my head. When I saw that first video, I thought, there's a lot of games I want to play this summer. We've just been playing these small box games. It just kind of seems like on the weekend, we're just fitting them in like a half hour gameplay at a time or something. So we've just been really just playing small box games like maniacs. And I mean, we're having a lot of fun with those games and with the other things that we're doing. But yeah, there's just a lot of games that aren't hitting the table. And I'm starting to get kind of an itch to play something big and substantial. You know, it's just building up inside of me and going like, I want to play something big and something that'll take up the whole table. One of those kind of games. One of those games you can just dive into. So it just kind of got me thinking, 5 games. And I'm going to make this a little bit of a challenge for the viewers too. I want you to think about this for a minute. Because every time somebody does some kind of a top something or other list, they always say, and this is an honorable mention because, or, oh, I thought about putting that on the list, but I haven't played it in a while. I mean, the number of times I've heard another content creator say like, oh, I really like this game. I like it a lot. I haven't played it in a while. I haven't even played it this year, but I really like this game and we should play it more often, but it didn't quite make my list because we haven't played it in a while. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I had heard somebody say that, I would be wealthy beyond the dreams of avarice. You know who you are out there. There's a lot of you watching that have games that you really, really like, but you don't play very often. And you keep thinking, wow, that's a really good game. I should really get that to the table again. So that's what this video is all about. 5 games from me and 5 games from Robert that we each want to play this summer. A goal. And remember, June is like, we're already deep into June now. So I'm going to start off with Robert because I posed this to him because also, I mean, he watches the Blackboard Gaming videos with me and he's like thinking like, yeah, you know, I mean, there's some games that I really wish that we would play this summer that we haven't played yet, or at least in a while. So top of Robert's list was, and I don't have the games out here because I'm doing 2 shorter videos, supposedly shorter, I'm trying to squeeze it in, instead of 1 per this week. His first game was Trekking the World. And we don't play this very often. To be honest, every time I play it, I keep thinking, oh, wow, I really like this game, but it would play so much better with more people, or this would just be amazing to sit around with friends playing this. And it's like we don't play it very often. We like it, we enjoy playing it, but it's like playing it, we're mentally thinking how much more fun it would be if we played it with other people. So I was surprised it was at the top of his list, but I knew that he liked it. He just kind of said, I said, why? And he said, I want to get more familiar with it. And I said, yeah, that's good, because you can get familiar with it this summer and play something different next summer, because I had the joy of telling him that there is a brand new, completely redone version of Trekking the World on Kickstarter right now. And I read all of the blog posts about why they did such an overhaul of the game, and I agreed with it. And I looked over the gameplay and I thought, yeah, this is going to be a better game, while at the same time being that fun, travel-y kind of family weight game. The artwork looks very much the same. I mean, they're going to have like the retro map and the beautiful artwork for the cards. So it's like, I'm in. So yeah, we're going to play the previous version of Trekking the World this summer, and then we're going to be looking forward to getting the new version. I think I'm just going to go through. No, I'll go one to one. My number 1 that I want to play this summer is Sleeping Gods with the Tides of Ruin expansion. We have played Sleeping Gods. We played it not long after it came out. I was not a backer, but we did get the retail version. And we enjoyed it, but we didn't like combat. We never liked combat, but we really didn't like combat in this game. Everything else we liked. We liked the story, but we were very dissatisfied with the ending that we got. There are several endings to the game. And there are pages in the map that have like numbers and arrows and stuff like for other locations that are off of that particular map area. And some of these you can't play in the original base game because those spots on the map that go off the map don't go to another location in the book, they go to an expansion. In this case, the Tides of Ruin expansion. There is another expansion, but it's a dungeon expansion, and Tides of Ruin just sounded more interesting. We're not big dungeon people. So I would like to play that. We got the expansion as kind of an us present for Christmas, and we haven't gotten to it yet because Sleeping Gods is such a long game. And it takes up the table. We don't have a game table. We play on the dining room table, so you know, we have to brace for the dining room table and plan for the dining room table to be inaccessible for all other purposes while we're playing it. So yeah, it kind of gets put off. But I would like to play that this summer. Robert's number 2 is Horrified Universal Monsters, which those of you who are regular viewers know that we really like this game. And Robert's reason for putting it on the list is that he likes the game, but he doesn't like the fact that our plays of the game tend to be weighted toward October. And he's right. It started off as a play at any time kind of game, but then it kind of has started moving into that whole spooky season time slot. And he's right. I mean, we really like this game anytime, and we should play it at times other than October. My number 2 is Robinson Crusoe, which we haven't gotten back to the table in a while, and I want to. There are lots of scenarios. We've got lots and lots of scenarios for that, and I just want to play another scenario, and I'm looking forward to maybe doing that this summer. Robert's number 3, crossover. Robert's number 3 is Robinson Crusoe. It's a big game, and that's part of what this list is all about, is getting some of those big games to the table. And it's fun. That was his reason. It's like, it's big, it's fun. What's not to love? My number 3 is, and yeah, you can just now maybe see the end of the mat here, I guess not, is Space Explorers, which I have. Actually, it's the game that I have on the table because we set it up and then we went off to do a family thing for Father's Day and didn't get to play it this past weekend on Sunday. Space Explorers. And what I want to do, as you may have noticed, I mentioned I wanted to play the Tides of Ruin expansion with Sleeping Gods. I want to play the Age of Ambition expansion. It's got a bunch of different modules, and we haven't played any of them yet. We set it up on the table right after this GameFound thing delivered, and then something happened and we didn't get to play. And once again, we've set it up on the table, and then something happened and we didn't get to play. So one of my things this year is I want to play the expansions for games that we've got. That's why I mentioned Sleeping Gods in the same breath with Space Explorers, because they are not anything alike. But yeah, we like Space Explorers. That's why I got the expansions, but we have not gotten the expansions to the table yet. So Space Explorers is my number 3. Number 4 on Robert's list is Ticket to Ride Europe, the anniversary edition. It's our favorite Ticket to Ride. I mean, that's it. It's our favorite Ticket to Ride. That's all the reason that you need. It's got a big, beautiful board. It's got deluxeified components. We like big maps. We like the Europe map, and the anniversary edition has a lot of variations in there. And so that is Robert's number 4. My number 4, wait for it. I know some of you watching have been waiting for this and shocked that it wasn't higher on the list, is Firefly the game with the new expansion, because I got the Veteran Pilots upgrade kit to pack all of my myriad Firefly stuff into one ginormous box. That also came with a new expansion, and we haven't touched it since the massive Kickstarter. No, it was GameFound. Since the massive GameFound delivery, and I loaded all of my stuff into the box with the new expansion that was in it. So yeah, we need to play the new expansion. Actually, there are a couple of older expansions that we haven't played yet either. It doesn't get to the table often because it is massive and it is long. Even at 2 players, it is long. So that is my number 4. And I actually think, and the reason why it's further down, it's like, I don't know. It just takes so much to get it to the table. I think in some ways it's harder to table than Sleeping Gods, even though it doesn't take multiple days to play. So that's my number 4. Going back up to the top here for Robert's number 5. His last choice is, and this kind of segues into his honorable mentions a bit. And by the way, I did ask Robert if he wanted to sit beside me here at the table and kind of kibitz off camera. He still doesn't want to do the video thing, not even as a disembodied voice. So that's okay. I got notes. So his number 5 was Creature Comforts, which again is one of those games that we tend to play in the fall. But it is a good game, and we have played it once in the summer. I introduced it to a friend of mine in the summer. But yeah, I could see playing that. But here's the thing. It's he had a hard time deciding on this last one. That's why I say it kind of segued into his honorable mentions, of which he has quite a few. But he said it could be swapped out with Lost Ruins of Arnak, because Arnak was one of those, he thought about it for number 5 too. He was basically just oscillating between Creature Comforts or Lost Ruins of Arnak for that number 5 slot. And Arnak is not on my list, but again, like him, I was kind of thinking about Arnak. I just, it's on my honorable mentions too. So Creature Comforts are possibly Lost Ruins for Robert's number 5. My number 5 is, and this is going to be a surprise for y'all because I bet y'all have forgotten that we even have it because I haven't mentioned it in a very long time. My City, which I got about, a year and a half ago, maybe longer, because we don't like legacy. The whole concept of legacy just makes Robert and I go, ugh. That whole idea of doing something to gain components. We treat game components like holy relics in this house. It's like, you don't tear up cards and break things. You don't mess with the game board. So yeah, the whole concept of legacy games just gives us the cold shudders. But I've heard that My City has a flip side, which is a forever game, a forever board, so that you can mess up things and do stuff on one thing, and after you've completed the legacy game and done all those scenarios, you can flip over the board and play that side of the board indefinitely. So it seemed like a good way to try out a legacy. It seemed like a good compromise, although the whole idea of messing with it in that first playthrough for those scenarios still kind of gives me the cold shudders. But I would like to take a crack at just start My City sometime this summer. Just do a scenario, after which point we may go and run screaming off into the night, but we're going to give it a shot. Now for the honorable mentions, the ones that just didn't quite make the cut. Robert's honorable mentions, I already mentioned Lost Ruins of Arnak, which was so close, he said he would be perfectly happy to just swap it out with Creature Comforts. He also mentioned Canopy, which it hasn't been that long since we played Canopy because it is one of our favorite games. But again, because it's one of our favorite games, kind of feeling like we should be playing it more. And Morels, which it really hasn't been very long since we played, but it's one of those games, it's like every time we play this, we say, we really should play this more often. We need to play this more often. Why haven't we played this more often? So hence it being on Robert's honorable mention list. And let me see, Lost Ruins. And Campy Creatures, which is another one of those games that we generally tend to play in October. Robert likes this game a lot. I'm a little more, because I feel like it does not play well at 2, and that the setup is too fiddly and just annoys the fire out of me, all of the stuff you have to do. This is a fast, short, lightweight card game, and yet for 2 players, you gotta do all of this stuff for setup and everything before you can play the very short, light, fast card game. It just seems like for the kind of fun, fast, short, little junky card game that it shouldn't have so many things you have to do to prepare the deck and do all this stuff and in order to play. You should just be able to sit down and play. So the setup annoys me so much that I've now said, basically, you set it up. It's like, I'll play it at 2 players, even though I feel like at 2 players it's a little janky. I'm dying to play it at 3. I think at 3 or 4 players it'll be fine, but it's a little janky at 2. So it's like Robert wants to play the game that is janky at 2 and that setup annoys me. He sets it up, I'll play it. But it's on his honorable mentions. So you may hear mention of campy creatures in the middle of the summer rather than fall. Or maybe knowing Robert in addition to fall, because he really likes this game a lot. And I think that if we had a regular game group so that there was more than 2 of us playing, and Robert did the setup, that it's just fiddly. It's not like as onerous as a really big game. It just feels like the setup is disproportionate for the size of the game. That's my thing. So if Robert did the setup and we had a regular group that played it, we would play this a lot more often because it is a lot of fun. More fun if we could just get more players. So anyhow, that is on those are his honorable mentions. Lost Ruin of Arnak, which could be swapped out with his number 5. Canopy and Morels, which are games that we really like a lot and that are small box games. Those would be really easy to play on any given Saturday or Sunday. Campy Creatures. My honorable mentions, Moonrakers. Moonrakers did not make this list for the sole reason that the 2-player of Moonrakers is really crappy. I mean, it's just not good. And yes, I know there is a digital version for 2 players, and we tried that, and we dislike that even more than the 2-player people on the board, on the table. So yeah, Moonrakers, if I had more than 2 people to play, Moonrakers would definitely be on that games I want to play this summer list. I actually have expansions for Moonrakers that I haven't played yet. I have played 1 or 2 expansions, but I haven't played all the expansions I got when they had like the upgrade thingy. Also, on my honorable mentions is Lost Ruins of Arnak. And it just missed the list. I did consider putting it on the list. But then you see, I have big things like Firefly the Game and a legacy that we haven't even started, My City, and expansions for 2 games that we haven't even touched yet, plus Robinson Crusoe. So it just got nudged out. And also on my honorable mentions, Tenpenny Parks, which I enjoy a lot, and I feel like it's very much a summer game. It makes me, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but it makes me think about going to theme parks when I was a kid in the summer. And I just love the different themes of it, and I love the gameplay, and props to Vincent Dutray. They did a great job with the artwork. And Nate Linhart's design is solid. And I like playing it. And it feels so summery to me. And so, I mean, I kind of feel like this is a game that we're going to play this summer. But at the same time, there are these other games that I feel like I really need to get these on the table. It's like Tenpenny Parks hits the table, but it's not, I wouldn't consider it hard to table, not like some of these others. Let me see, Tenpenny Parks, Lost Woods, Moonrakers, Switch and Signal, which I mentioned in my bug out bag video a couple of weeks ago. Switch and Signal is a co-op train game, and we haven't played it in a while, and it's a huge amount of fun. Even if I did kind of accidentally crash a train last time, we still won, I might add. Even with a train crash, we still won. But yeah, it's a good puzzle. I mean, if you like to play co-op in one of those kind of ways where the 2 of you just put your head together and like figure things out and like brainstorm the turns and go like, okay, but if that goes and then that goes and then this, but if that card turns over a brown train, then we are just going to be out of luck. So the brown can you move? Wait a minute, I can move the brown on my turn. Can you move the gray on your turn? It's like, and you got to put your head together, and you've got to figure out, it's like, I can move that signal. I can change that signal if that's what you need me to do. It's like, so it's like you can put our head together, and it's very puzzly. It is a really satisfying co-op, and it does have gradations of difficulty level. You can make it more difficult than the basic level, but to be honest, we've gotten into some big trouble on the basic level sometimes. So it's like, I'm not sure we want to make it harder, but it's just so satisfying. Tiny Epic Galaxies and the Beyond the Black expansion is my final honorable mention. We really like Tiny Epic Galaxies. We like it a lot. It was one of the early games that we got, and we just enjoy the heck out of it. And I've got the Beyond the Black expansion. I've had the Beyond the Black expansion for so long, I don't even know how long I've had it, and we haven't played it. I mean, we've played Tiny Epic Galaxies, but we have never added in that expansion. And this goes back to one of my things this whole year is we've got a bunch of games that we really like, and because I really like them, I got expansions for them. And then we don't roll in the expansions, we just play the base game that we really like. So one of my things this year is I've got like way more unplayed expansions than I do unplayed games, because at this point, my unplayed game shelf are just party games or games that need more than 2 players. So, I mean, that's really the only thing that I've got now that's on my unplayed game shelf. Although, wait a minute, I just got something. No, yes, I do have one. Yes, this past weekend, I got a solo game. I've got a couple of solo games that are unplayed. It's like, for somebody who doesn't play solo very often, it's like this past week, I just got a bunch of solo stuff. I mean, my previous video this week was on A Gentle Rain, which I had the original and I got a new edition of it. Solo game. And then, Fantasy Forum, the Button Shy Kickstarter, that is the fantasy version of Spaceship, only it has had a bit of a redesign as well. So the gameplay will be a little bit different. That just delivered like yesterday. So that's another solo game. But this past week, when we went to our friendly local game store for Starfinder on Saturday, that was a lot of fun too. One of the guys, that's the guy who is most often our GM, he was actually in our party this time. So that was a lot of fun. But our local game store, they sometimes will take games from people and sell them used, not too often and not too many. And they had in a display case like a whole line of really excellent small box games. And I'm looking at them going like, got that, got that, got that, got that, got that. Do not have that. Have never seen that. And the game is Friday by Friedman Freeze. It is a solo game. And I'm thinking this is going to fit in perfectly with that Robinson Crusoe theme. I can play Friday and then we can play Robinson Crusoe. It is on both Robert and I's summer game list. So, it's a solo game by Friedman Freeze, and I knew about it. I knew of its existence. I knew that there was a game called Friday, and that it was Robinson Crusoe themed. It's basically about Friday helping Robinson Crusoe survive and get off the island. Get him out of his hair, I think, so to speak. But yeah, I knew about the game. I knew it existed. I had seen the app for it, but I hadn't gotten it. So, yeah. That is an unplayed game that I need to get played. Anyhow, that's kind of been the thing. We want to play some of the games that we haven't yet played this year that are just a wee bit hard to table, or that have expansions that we got that we have not yet played for them. At least that was what I was shooting for. Robert's criterion was different. This was just games he really wanted to play this summer. Trekking the World, Horrified Universal Monsters, because he doesn't think it's fallen into that October slot and he wants to play it year round, which is totally legit. He's right. Robinson Crusoe, Ticket to Ride Europe, favorite Ticket to Ride. And Creature Comforts are Arnak, and Arnak was on my list too. He does not have any that we have unplayed expansions for. We don't have any Arnak expansions. I feel like if we played Arnak more often, I mean, if we were just playing Arnak every other weekend, maybe I'd consider getting expansions for it. But it doesn't hit the table that often. Again, that makes it a really good candidate for one of those games we really like, but just doesn't get played very often. So tell me in the comments, what are some games you really like, but that just don't hit the table very often? Games maybe you want to put a little goal sticker on to play this summer. Anyhow, it's been fun, and welcome to all those new subscribers. Once again, I am glad you're here, and I hope you enjoyed it and will stick around, because you just never quite know what I'm going to do or what I'm going to talk about. I will see y'all next time around the table.